The night it begins is always quiet, too quiet. In the villages of southern Africa, elders say the Tokoloshe does not arrive with thunder or warning. It comes when laughter has ended, when fires burn low, when children have already been told to sleep. Long before outsiders wrote books or cameras arrived, people knew something unseen walked between homes after dark, leaving fear behind without leaving footprints. This is not a monster story meant to entertain. This is a case file built from testimony, history, psychology, and silence. For generations, people across South Africa, Zimbabwe, and parts of Mozambique raised their beds on bricks, not for comfort, but for protection. The belief was simple and terrifying. The Tokoloshe was small, clever, and dangerous, but it could not climb high. To outsiders, this sounded like superstition. To locals, it was survival knowledge passed down like fire starting or water finding. You do not argue with something that has already hurt your people. Colonial records dismissed the Tokoloshe as folklore, yet missionaries wrote uneasy notes about unexplained panic, sleep disturbances, and mass fear spreading through communities without any visible cause. Children refused to sleep alone. Adults swore they were attacked by something they could feel but not fully see. The pattern repeated across regions that had never communicated with one another. When stories match across distance, time, and language, investigators pay attention. The Tokoloshe was never described as purely physical. Some said it was hairy and child-sized. Others said it was invisible unless empowered by dark rituals. What remained consistent was intent. The Tokoloshe did not wander, it was sent. This detail matters because it transforms the legend from random fear into a weapon. In traditional belief systems, witches were not fairy tale villains. They were social threats, resentful individuals who used knowledge for harm rather than healing. The Tokoloshe was their tool. Case reports from the early 1900s describe villages paralyzed by fear overnight. No theft, no visible attacks. Only exhaustion, illness, and sudden death following intense psychological distress. Elders claimed the Tokoloshe fed on fear, shame, and weakness. Modern psychologists might recognize this pattern as mass psychogenic illness, but that explanation alone does not account for the consistency of symptoms across isolated communities. What happens when belief becomes biological? Sleep paralysis, night terrors, and stress-induced hallucinations are well documented today. But here's the problem. The Tokoloshe predates Western medical language by centuries. People described the same symptoms long before science named them. That doesn't make the experience imaginary. It means the experience existed first and explanation came later. There are recorded cases where entire households claimed nightly attacks. Bruises appeared without explanation. Children woke screaming, claiming something sat on their chest. Adults felt pressure, breath stolen, presence sensed. These are textbook descriptions of sleep paralysis. Yes, but the Tokoloshe explanation gave the experience shape, meaning, and continuity. Fear without a story destroys people faster than fear with one. But the Tokoloshe is not only a night creature. In many accounts, it is blamed for sudden jealousy-driven conflicts, broken marriages, unexplained illnesses, and even miscarriages. When someone prospered too quickly, suspicion followed. When success appeared without communal approval, whispers began. The Tokoloshe, in this sense, functioned as a cultural regulator. It punished selfishness, secrecy, and imbalance. Fear kept people aligned with community norms. This is where the legend becomes uncomfortable for outsiders. The Tokoloshe was not just fear, it was control. Not always malicious control, but social enforcement. If you broke invisible rules, something invisible might come for you. In societies without prisons or police, belief itself became law. Colonial authorities tried to erase these stories, labeling them backward. But erasure does not delete belief. It drives it underground. In fact, Tokoloshe reports increased during periods of displacement, labor exploitation, and family separation. When people lost control of their environment, fear sought form, and the Tokoloshe returned stronger. Even today, modern South African newspapers occasionally report Tokoloshe panic in urban settings. Apartment residents flee buildings. Children refuse school. Therapists are called after traditional healers fail. The legend adapts. It always has. Because the Tokoloshe is not fixed, it evolves with fear. So what is the Tokoloshe? A demon? A hallucination? A myth? Or something more precise? A cultural embodiment of psychological threat, weaponized belief, and generational trauma? Case files do not jump to conclusions. They follow patterns. Pattern 1. The Tokoloshe appears during stress. Pattern 2. It targets the vulnerable. Pattern 3. Belief amplifies symptoms. Pattern 4. Silence protects it. There are no Tokoloshe attacks where communities openly discuss fear. It thrives where shame prevents speech. This is not coincidence. This is structure. Traditional healers did not merely remove the Tokoloshe. They restored balance socially, emotionally, spiritually. Rituals included confession, forgiveness, and reintegration into the community. Again, outsiders laughed. But modern therapy uses the same principles under different names. The most dangerous part of the Tokoloshe legend is not whether it exists. It's what happens when people believe they are alone in fear. That is when sleep disappears. That is when illness begins. That is when the mind turns against the body. So why does the Tokoloshe still survive in the age of smartphones and electricity? Because technology does not erase fear. It only distracts it. When silence returns, ancient fears return with it. The Tokoloshe never needed darkness. It needed attention. And here is the final truth of this case file. The Tokoloshe is not proof of Africa's superstition. It is proof of Africa's psychological intelligence long before psychology had a name. It is a reminder that fear ignored becomes stronger, but fear understood loses power. The Tokoloshe is not hunting you. It is warning you. And in the next Afralis case file, we investigate another entity feared not because it attacks, but because it controls storms, memory, and silence itself.